We begin tonight with a breaking news alert out of Huntington. The Chase Bank on 5th Avenue and 10th Street was robbed late this afternoon.
Yeah, more than 24 people were inside the building when the robbery happened, and employees sheltered in place until they knew if the robber had indeed left this building. We were the first TV station on the scene of that robbery as the SWAT team arrived to help the employees out of the building. News Channel 3's Tim Mears got a live update now for the search for the robber. Tim.
Yeah, that's right, Bill. It's quite a different situation than when we first arrived here. The robbery happened about 3:45 here at the Chase Bank, and when that took place, we got here quickly. WSAZ is just a couple blocks down the road. The Huntington Police Department even closer, just a block away, so they showed up right away. When we rolled up on the scene, the police were just coming on the scene. Several of the police were already out front. They had guns drawn. It was a very tense scene. It was something that you might see out of a movie with police cars all around the front of the bank, all around the side of the bank, all around the back of the bank. In fact, all sides of the bank, all four sides. And we have to point out now, as far as Chase Bank is concerned, the banking is done on the lower level of Chase Bank. The upper 3 floors then are office buildings. And most of the folks who have already gotten out of the bank were on the lower level, on the first floor, and now we're being told just about all of the second floor has been cleared. So all the workers are allowed to leave at this point. And that's why it's a much different feeling, is because the idea is that the bank robber made his way out before police showed up, although there was a question. And that's why they've decided to go slowly and cautiously, office by office, and check to make sure that he didn't maybe head upstairs to the second or third floor. Some of the employees told me who were on the first floor, when I asked them if it's possible for that somebody to go upstairs and make their way to the second and third floors and hide in one of those offices, they said that they would either have to access it through a stairwell, because don't forget you have to have a key card to go from building to building, or from off floor to floor within this office building. So they weren't sure whether or not he'd even have the access to do that. But once again, it's just a precaution by police at this point to make sure that that man left the building and that he is not inside. The prevailing theory is that he left. We got a shot. We weren't able to use it yet because the police aren't ready to release it, but I was able to look at it on one of their phones, and it's not a very clear picture of the suspect. It doesn't have a real good shot of his face. But don't forget, there are security cameras all around, not just in Chase Bank, but in businesses all around. This is a very busy area in downtown Huntington, so there probably will be a lot of different angles of this person. Whether or not there's a clear image of his face, that remains to be seen, Bill.
All right, Tim, thanks so much. We are covering every angle of this. Of course, a huge perimeter has been blocked off there in downtown Huntington. We have lots of crews on the scene. Our live team coverage continues now with reporter Brittany Hoke, and she actually just spoke with somebody who was inside the building. Brittany, what did they have to say?
And as Tim explained earlier, Amanda, very well, is that the people on the bottom floor where the Chase Bank is located, they got out pretty quickly, but there were other offices on the top floors where employees were still inside. And one of those employees joins me now, Barbara Miller, who was on the second floor, I believe you said. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. Can you tell me just what exactly you saw when all of this was going on?
Well, we could see out the windows, and we could see the entire building was surrounded with cops, and the road was blocked and nobody could get through, so we knew immediately something bad was going on. But then we were told that the bank was being robbed. So we were told to barricade our offices, and we barricaded all into one area of our office, and we all were in there together, so it wasn't scary for us. It was just, we just...
Yeah, so have you ever been through anything like this before? Never?
No, never. My daughter works for a bank, and she's never had any experience like this either, so it was kind of, yeah.
But you said you weren't afraid. You said that, did they give you updates while you were inside there? Were they letting you know what was going on? Is that why you weren't afraid, or you just...
We had 2 scanners. We could hear, everything that was going on. We could hear them talking, and so we could also see them on the outside and what they were doing. So we kind of knew we were going to be okay. It was just,
And were you on the phone while you were inside, letting your family know?
Everybody was on the phone. We were all on the phone talking at the same time. So it's like everybody was trying to let everybody know that they were okay. So families were worried, and so we wanted to put their minds at ease.
Yeah, so they were probably more worried than you guys were.
Oh, exactly, because we kind of knew what was going on, and I guess people on the outside were just getting bits and pieces, so nobody really knew the whole story. So they would call and we would tell them what we knew, so that was helping. That helped a lot.
And were you watching as police went through through the rooms and things like that? And what did they do when they came to the room that you were located?
There were 19 of us in the same area, so we had to hold up our hands. We couldn't bring anything out with us. We had to hold up our hands and come through, and then we were let out, and then they brought us out of the building in a single file order, so we were all here together on the sidewalk.
All right, so what's going on now once they brought you out? I saw you had to be searched yourself, and they had you signing things, so how did you feel about that?
We were just wanting to go back in because we don't have keys. We can't go home. We don't have our purses, coats, or anything. So we're just wanting to, right at this time, to get access back in. But we don't know how long it'll take because they have to wait till they clear the entire building to make sure it's safe before they can let us back. So that's our big worry right now, is just getting home.
All right, so keep them warm out here in this wind for sure is the one thing, but we're so glad that you're safe. Thank you so much for talking to me today, Barbara. And we still are waiting to see what the word is on the suspect. We did hear that he has fled, and they have a description of that suspect, so we're going to keep checking on that and soon hopefully be able to talk to police to get some answers on that. Back to you guys.
All right, glad to know that everyone's safe. Here is that description right now. We know that it's a black male, about 5'6". He was wearing a brown Carhartt jacket at the time and a blue snow cap. So something to keep in mind as you are out and about tonight. Again, authorities saying that it is safe to go downtown. Just keep in mind there are places in downtown that are still blocked off right now. But again, 5'6", a black male, brown Carhartt jacket and a blue hat. Technology, Bill, really helping us get a play-by-play from those folks inside the building about what they were experiencing and going through as this whole ordeal unfolded.
Again, a collective sigh of relief, definitely, that those people in that building are okay. We will have continuing coverage of this developing story really throughout the rest of this newscast. We will also have instant updates on the web channel at WSAZ.com. Don't forget Facebook and Twitter. Our crews are staying there on the scene, and we will have live team coverage coming up new tonight at 10 and then again at 11 here on WSAZ. All right, a Huntington man is leaving the hospital today. Not the same man he was when he went in more than a week ago. Blake Blackwelder was in a serious accident on I-64, run over not once, but twice. He realizes he's lucky. Broken ribs, fractured vertebrae, a broken ankle, severed liver. I can tell you what, the list goes on and on and on. But Blake says the accident was a wake-up call, and he wants to make the most of it. Look.
This is where the ribs are broke. This is where the car hit me and lacerated my liver.
Blake Blackwelder's going home from the hospital.
I mean, it was a miracle.
That describes his entire jaw-dropping ordeal.
As soon as I was sideways, I knew the semi was going to hit me.
Blake was in an accident on the interstate earlier this month. A car tried to pass and clipped him.
The vehicle that sideswiped me, it was a hit and run. I don't guess they apprehended them or found the vehicle or anything.
Then a semi hit the bed of his truck so hard, it blew him out of the cab onto the road.
I was just trying to keep out from underneath the wheels of the semi as it ran over my leg. I was trying to get away from it, and then I knew I had to get out of the road to keep from getting struck by another vehicle. And then by the time I raised up to try to get out of the road, it already hit me.
Hit not once, but twice, and alive to tell about it.
Kind of got off the path as far as, with my religion and stuff like that, but there has to be a higher purpose for me.
What that is, too soon to tell. But this 24-year-old's been given a second chance, and he's got no plans to waste it.
I think it was a wake-up call as far as my life and stuff like that goes. We'll try to be a better person overall. Just try to change, see what I can do.
And we wish that young man luck. Blake is a machinist, hoping to get back to work ASAP. I joked with him earlier, we've got something in common. I was hit by a car once, too. But he went up to me, not once, but twice. The initial driver who caused that crash, as he said, did not stop, and police are still looking for him. A busy road in Sissonville is back open after this dramatic crash. A box truck crashed into a utility pole on Martins Branch Road around noon today. It snapped the pole in half and pulling a second pole down. The driver was not hurt, but it did take several hours to clean up that mess. All right, Marshall's basketball team is undergoing some changes. Basketball coach Tom Harrion resigned today after Thundering Herd went 11-22 this season. Sports director Keith Morehouse has more on today's announcement and the changes here now for the basketball program.
That's right, Bill. It was an announcement that wasn't entirely unexpected. Mike Hamrick, athletics director, and Tom Harrion, the basketball coach, met earlier this morning for a little more than 30 minutes when Mike Hamrick said Mr. Harrion offered his resignation. Now, Harrion's career lasted 4 years at Marshall. Plenty of good moments in the first couple of years, including an NIT appearance in his second season. But the last 2 years, the Herd lost 41 games total, more than in any other two-year period in Marshall basketball history. Here's what Coach Herring had to say, quote, "I have enjoyed being a part of the Marshall and Greater Huntington community. We wish the entire Thundering Herd Nation great success moving forward." Coming up at 6 o'clock in Sports, Bill, we'll talk about maybe some of the names who might be on the shopping list and also hear from Mike Hamrick on details of today's resignation. Back over to you.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes, Keith. Thank you very much. New charges tonight stemming from an investigation into the Gallia County Animal Shelter. 3 current and previous dog wardens who worked at the shelter are now charged with several counts of animal cruelty. Gallup Police City Solicitor says there's evidence that G. Daniels, Paul Simmers, and Jason Harris did not follow legal protocol while euthanizing dogs, causing the animals really unnecessary pain and suffering. The misdemeanor charges date back to March of 2012. All right, we are staying on top of the breaking news out of Huntington, where the search continues right now for a person who robbed the Chase Bank on 5th Avenue and 10th Street. Police are really still sheltering in place the building as the SWAT team moves in to see if the robber is still inside. We are staying on top of this breaking news, and we will have an update coming up next.
We are staying on top of that breaking news in Huntington, where police are working to safely get employees out of the Chase Bank building following that robbery late this afternoon.
Yeah, this is still going on. News Channel 3's Tim Mears is live downtown now with an update. Tim.
Yeah, Bill, we can tell you that about 19 employees on the second floor were cleared out about maybe 15, 20 minutes ago, I'd say. And there are 14 employees, I'm told, up on the third floor. They're waiting to get the all clear. And what that means is the officers have to get up on the third floor, check the surroundings, because everybody is, to use kind of a loose term, was on lockdown up there on the third floor. They'll be brought down. The rest of the offices will be cleared. The hallways, the closets, behind doorways, underneath desks, just to make sure that the person who robbed this bank didn't in fact escape to a higher floor from the bank, which is down on the lower level. The other story that has to be told here is all these employees who have been cleared out of the building are now standing outside the building, waiting around in other offices and maybe at restaurants, waiting to get the all clear to go back inside and get their keys and get their purses and to be able to go home for the night. So that's the other part of this story, is they need to get back into the building to get their stuff to then go home, Bill.
No fault that at all, Tim. Thank you very much. Again, a lot of these people who've been up there for hours wanting to come down to make sure they're safe now are going to have to go back and get all their stuff to be able to go home. We will stay on top of the story and we'll bring you updates throughout the newscast. Tim, thank you.
First warning weather.
Well, it's important to note that while all this is going down, the businesses in downtown Huntington are still open. So if you have dinner plans, we're actually seeing some very decent conditions out there with temperatures holding on to the lower 60s. As we move into our evening, we're seeing building clouds. It's actually a bit windy out there. Wind gusts near 30 miles per hour, and that will continue. Temperatures dipping down near 50 degrees by midnight with some showers entering from the west. Those will clear out as we head into tomorrow morning. Clearing conditions expected as we see temperatures nice and warm once again with a high near 60 degrees expected. Our current temperatures, as I mentioned, we're holding on to the 60s, 60 in Charleston and 62 in Huntington, a few 50s into our southern extent, but otherwise mild throughout much of the region. HD dual Doppler radar showing a clean sweep in our region, but out to our west. There's those rain showers that'll be approaching for later tonight with an approaching cold front. So let's take a look at our supercomputer. We're seeing building clouds overhead for this evening. Eventually some spotty showers heading from our northwest. That'll push through. You can see those spotty showers pushing through Huntington and Charleston. You can see it's a very light green color indicating just light rainfall expected. Really not much as far as accumulation. Some light rain showers into the morning hours down to our south and east. Clearing skies for tomorrow afternoon as temperatures pull near 60. A beautiful forecast to kick off the weekend. But then we see showers entering once again by Sunday morning. And that's what we have our attention on for Sunday through Monday. We see a cold rain for much of Sunday, but a mix starting to push into our far northern extent. Then we start to see a snow mix into Portsmouth and Gallipolis by Sunday evening. Cold rain for much of our region. Eventually that snow will mix into the rest of our region by early Monday morning, and we'll have to keep an eye on that as far as accumulations. Here's a look at our 7-day forecast though. We're seeing temperatures going down to 45 degrees on Sunday, so quite a bit of a cool down, and that will allow for that snow transition as we head into Monday morning. Temperatures sitting in the mid-20s. A warm up Tuesday, but that won't last long with another mix heading our way for Thursday.
All right, Kellyanne, thank you. Coming up next, back to the girls' state tournaments. And Tom Harrion exits stage right. Marshall now looking for a new basketball coach. Keith is in next with sports.
Tom gave Marshall everything he had. I believe that. It just didn't. Sometimes things don't work out.
Good evening, I'm Keith Morehouse. Marshall Athletics Director Mike Hamrick speaking at a news conference this afternoon with the official word that Tom Harrion has resigned. It wasn't off-the-court issues or philosophical differences. Hamrick said in the end it comes down to what most happens in coaching change situations. He just didn't win enough. It started out very well for the Tom Harrion tenure. Glow sticks lighting up the arena, sellout crowds. But that was in his first 2 years. The last 2 seasons were his downfall. Marshall racking up loss after loss, 41 of them to be exact, the most ever in a 2-year period in Herd basketball history.
Tom ran the program the right way. Someone who values the academic side of it. Tom did that. But at the end of the day, we just didn't win enough games. We just didn't win enough games.
The current players heading off to spring break, but point guard Kareem Canty tweeted earlier in the day that he would be leaving Marshall.
Some kids are happy. Some kids are upset. Some kids are staying. Some kids are leaving. But you know what, Keith, I found out at the end of the day, when you get a new coach hired and that coach goes in and sits down with those kids, everything works out fine.
Harrion's buyout still intact, $550,000 to be paid over 2 years. Hamrick said money will come from private sources and ticket revenues. Here are some names and faces you might be seeing during the process. Kevin Keats is an assistant at Louisville with Rick Pitino and is now coaching there in Louisville. Jeff Bowles was an assistant under Greg White, now an assistant to Thad Matta at Ohio State. John Pelfrey is with Billy Donovan in Florida and was an assistant at Marshall as well. John Brannon played at Marshall. He's an assistant at Alabama. And also, don't forget about Rob Fulford, the tremendously successful head coach at Huntington Prep. I believe the word is he may be interested in the job. Sissonville Indians this afternoon. State semifinals this afternoon at the Civic Center. Sissonville jumps out to a quick lead. Madison Jones knocks down the three-pointer. She had 17 points. Brittany Gould with the jumper in the lane. She also had 17 for Sissonville. Polar Bears were trying to storm back. Emily Stroller hits a 3. She had 20 for them. But the game belonged to the Indians as they move on to the state championship. We'll hear more from them later tonight. Also, the Ashland Lady Kittens in Bowling Green taking on Danville. Third quarter. Blazer down. Alexis Robinson and Makissa Robinson for 2. It's 28 all. Later in the third, Ashland moving the ball. Shelby Gransberry gets it inside and finishes 38-34. More from the Kittens. This time they go inside to Haley Sue Fouch. They led it 50-42, and how about that? They go on to win it 64-55. Lady Kittens still alive. Finish things up in Columbus, the Schottenstein Center, Fairland and Versailles. Division III, Dragons start quickly. Tara Stapleton with the block shot. The outlet pass to Taylor Perry for the layup at the other end. Then watch the nice post move inside by Stapleton as she pretty much unstoppable in there. She had 11 points on the day. Kelsey Riley with a strong take to the hoop. But Versailles gets him in the end. An historic season at Fairland comes to an end. 67-60 is your final. Don't forget the Kentucky Wildcats play later tonight. More high school action as well. We'll have it for you. We'll be back right after this.
We're staying on top of that breaking news out of Huntington, where police are working to get people out of the Chase Bank building following the robbery that happened late this afternoon.
That's right. News Channel 3's Tim Meir is live downtown now with an update. Tim.
Yeah, Bill and Amanda, we can tell you there are about 14 people on the third floor who will be taken out very soon. We're going to take our first look at the suspect in this bank robbery. Now, this is a person that is believed to be a suspect. It's our first look at this person, and this is just released by the Huntington Police Department. As a matter of fact, we're looking inside one of the Huntington Police cruisers right now. It's being called up on one of the screens on one of the in-car computers that they have within the Huntington Police Department. And we can tell you that that's the look at the suspect. We're going to see if we can get some more information on who this person is and the direction of flight when this person left the bank, if in fact that person's out of the bank, coming up tonight at 10 and 11 on WSAZ.
All right, Tim, thanks very much. And what we do know from the description, I know that picture is a little hard to see. As soon as we can get it on the web channel, we will. But we know the black male, 5'6", wearing a blue snow cap and a brown Carhartt jacket, Bill.
And we saw someone walking in the other direction as well. That person will be interviewed saying, you know what, I remember that guy, and be able to get a description of that and get something concrete in just a few moments. Again, your news always on the web channel at WSAZ.com.
See you back here tonight at 11.